Looks good. Yo, what is good, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, a little bit of a market rundown, Monday markets. Check out the weekly, the monthly, how things are going. I got a couple trades open. I have one on Bitcoin. I have one on Ethereum. And we're also going to be talking about Bitcoin futures, the CME Bitcoin futures, which is not like perpetual futures, not like what you trade on FTX or Binance. That's for baby traders like you and me. It's for institutional traders, right? It's where the big money is trading Bitcoin futures, okay? And the difference between perpetual futures, perpetual meaning indefinite, like these don't end, they just go on forever, right? CME futures have closing dates and they close over the weekend to open back up on Monday, thus creating something called a gap when price is different from the open price and the closing price of the Friday and the open price of the Monday. Okay, before we get into that, we're going to look into a little bit of market structure on the daily time frame for Bitcoin. Okay. So here we're in this range that I've been talking about for quite some time. We did break back into it twice, pulled back out of it again. Okay, but I'm not worried about that right now. Ideally, I would like to see Bitcoin close above the bottom of the range here. All right, let's just round this off. Okay. Round some of these off. All right. Okay, ideally a close above 34,650 or at least 34,500. If not, I'm not worried, because if you're looking at this in the market structure, this could just be a pause in the market and we can have another leg up from here, which is very possible, actually quite likely, since we were trading over the weekend. So we're filling in that gap. We're in a corrective period just for the Monday. Then we should continue to the upside after that. But if you look here, we've had our double bottom, right? And then we've created a low. And then we've created another higher low wherever this closes, right? Ideally above the bodies, because I typically like to look at bodies when I'm focused on market structure. Now, if not, then my bias will change, of course. Anyway, so where do I think is going to happen here? We break back above, test some of these bigger targets. Now let's look on the 4-hour time frame. Here you can see it a little more clearly. I'm going to turn off my daily levels and open up my intraday levels. All right, so we're very, very clearly trading within this range. Beautiful rejection on the 4 hours so far. We have 1 hour left. Very good looking to me. And again, we should be breaking back into this range. I do have a trade here. If you guys have been watching me, here's the 1 hourly as well. I'll get into the price action in a minute. But I got in over here on this breakout of the wedge. Rode it up to here. My target was just below 36,000. Right. Just above, below 36,000, but unfortunately with spreads and lower liquidity on the broker that I'm trading on compared to Binance, I didn't hit it. That's okay. It happens. Pretty bullshit, only $30 away from my target. Something I should have been aware of was the fact that CME markets were opening within a few hours right while I was around that target, right? Which is very unfortunate, because in my mind I was thinking, okay, yeah, CME are going to open. I'm going to hit my target tonight. They're going to be open in the morning. Not considering the fact that the CME opens at 6 o'clock for me in my time, 6 o'clock, not in the morning, which unfortunate, but learn from it, right? So again, I didn't add into Bitcoin here, although I do think that that's a pretty good position to be buying, especially after this nice, beautiful bullish pin bar here. Another nice bullish candle on the 1 hour about to close. But I did add instead on Ethereum. Ethereum, you can see, turn on my indicators. Again, if you know me, I'm not really an indicator trader. I do occasionally like my moving averages, and I have another indicator here that's telling me the daily low. Okay, very simple price action indicators. We did reject off the trend line, rejected off my 2 moving averages, and we did not close below the previous daily low, which is something that I think is very important for keeping that bullish momentum going into the following day or two, right? So I took a long here. I put my stop a little bit wider. I think it was within this region. And I'm targeting, obviously, the previous weekly high here. Turn these back off again. Targeting 25.80 and 27.14. And I'll let a little bit of run for a moonshot. Not very bullish. As you guys know, I'm not very bullish on altcoins especially. But if you look here, another very, very bullish cross here. A breakout and retest. Another signal that should be very nice, very strong support. All right, moving on. Bitcoin price action on the 1 hour. Again, breaking below. Here, if I pull up a fib, coming down, closing above the 786. Very nice. Nothing too complicated. Okay, so bullish on both for the intraday, bullish on both for the week. If we look at the weekly candles here as well, let me go back to my daily. A very bullish hammer, a very bullish pin bar, right? And then we've had a doji, still a bullish candle closing into the range, and I expect that we're just having this pullback here for the start of the week. Didn't close below the last weekly low, bullish to me. And now we should start seeing some upwards momentum and try and test the top of this wick again at 36K, a little bit above. So I'm not worried about that. It's just a matter of time for me. Okay, now looking at the Bitcoin CMEs. Okay, so looking at the trade first. Looking at the trade first, came up, tested it, turned around at 18 o'clock or 6 p.m. Boom, you can see that once the CME opened, absolutely melted. Price just started melting, retreating back. Even though the momentum was there, man. Like, guys, everything was there. Everything was there. This should have been pushing up, at least towards this local top here. Pushed up, came down, didn't even hold, absolutely melted. Why is that? First off, institutions are driving the market, right? Second off, let's ignore all of that. Let's ignore all of the logic behind it and just look at statistics. Statistically, almost all Bitcoin CME gaps are filled. So I went ahead and listed some out for you. Black are currently unfilled gaps, and the blue, or the lighter blue, is filled gaps. Okay, so looking at the most recent one, big gap, because we had that nice bullish move, which is actually from here. Big gap, we had that nice bullish move. Right there. Big gap. We had that nice bullish move over the weekend, creating this big price gap, and then it was finally filled down in here. Price wants to come back and fill that. So when the week opens on the Monday, close on the Friday, then it's retail taking over. Retail push the market up. Then when institutions entered again on Monday, they want to push the market down, fill that gap, and continue that trend in the CME futures, right? So right when it opened, price just started to melt. They're closing positions and they want to enter again with the trend, right? Now, this doesn't have to happen at the start. It doesn't have to happen at the start of the week, but it's definitely something you want to be cautious about, okay? In my case, I was watching my chart, okay? I saw that I was only $30 away from my position. It started to pull back on me, so I was $500 away from my target. I said, it should go up and retest. Not knowing, or I wasn't aware that the CME should just opened. Because if I knew that, I would have closed right away. I would have closed right away. I've been ready for that gap to fill, and I would have bought back in. Unfortunately, not. So I basically threw a trade away because I wasn't aware. So I want you guys to drill it into your head. Friday, CME closes. Monday, they're back open, and you want to watch that price action. Okay. Now, just looking back as some for some examples here. As you can see, it doesn't need to fill right away, like in this case. We had some bullish momentum, topped out, came back to fill. As soon as that gap was filled, we started heading back into an uptrend, right? Here as well. Big gap, we filled, and then price started really moving again. Here's another gap. Gap filled right at the start of the week, and then continued the downtrend. Right, these are all over. Okay, here's another one that's not filled yet. So this leads me to believe that price should be coming back and testing this 49,000 region. Fill in that gap. Another big gap open here is up at the 58 to 62K region. That needs to be filled. Partially filled, arguable if you want to call that a fill. That's fine. And then here's another one that was filled. Gap filled from the underside. Weeks later, actually a whole month later it was filled. And in this case as well, almost a month later it was filled. And these are all over this gap filled right away. Marked some other ones that are unfilled right now. So we have another gap that's not filled at 24K. Another unfilled gap at 18 to 19K. And then another gap that is filled here at 9K, and another one that's filled there. And that one is filled. So the lowest unfilled gap that we have is the 19K region here. 18 to 19K region. So I'm inclined to believe that this gap will fill eventually, potentially in the bear market, or potentially we come up, maybe fill some of these higher gaps, and then make our way down to fill some of these lower gaps. I am still more inclined to believe that we will be testing some of these higher regions before we get more bearish pressure if we do. Otherwise, even if Bitcoin hits 100K, I'm still... This is Bitcoin. If you've been watching Bitcoin for long enough, I know it sounds crazy to see, but if Bitcoin goes up to 100K, it's not unlikely that that can come back and fill a 25K or even a 19K level. Okay. I don't want to get too off topic here, but even if we see 100K Bitcoin, that's an 80% drop, which seems crazy, right? But if you go into previous data here, oops, sorry. BLX. If you look at previous data here, it's not unlikely, right? Top to bottom, 84%. Top to bottom, 86%. 80%. 94%, right? So not atypical for Bitcoin at all, and a 72% drop. So I am very inclined to see that those will fill in the future. I think that's about it, guys. I think that is about it. Again, you can see our trades here. I'll get into a little more of the price action analysis for you guys. I noticed that I don't actually do enough of that for you guys. So if we're looking at here, we were in a downtrend up until June 26th. Created a double bottom. Created this sort of zone here, this range. call it an order block, whatever. We created this low, we came back, tested it, filled a bunch of orders, and launched up. And then had a breakout, retest, proper market structure, higher. You got your low, your high, your higher low, your higher high, higher low. Sorry guys. Higher high, and now is this our higher low? I'm inclined to believe so. That's why I'm trading it. Right. Now I am inclined to believe so. That is why I am trading it. See, boom. We can hit some of these higher targets here. The 618 lines up with that daily market structure. Previous high. Nice take profit area at 25.80. And then again, the one for our fib lined up with the 27.15. 2700 to round that down. Okay. And with Bitcoin, lower time frame. Get off logarithmic. Beautiful price action now coming along. Breakout, hopefully close above this range. Even entering into that range again is quite bullish to me. And then that gives me the opportunity to move my stop up a little bit if I wanted to, right? Another thing that I like to look at, which I don't talk about too much with you guys, but I'll do it now. I'm not going to go into the detail of it because, you know what? Hey, it's free, man. You know, I don't want to give you guys everything free. At least not yet. Maybe in the future, but too small to be giving you everything. I need some content in the future. Looking at Bitcoin, everyone in the group, everyone in Shark Gang knows that I love Bitcoin pairs because it tells you a side of the story that you don't see with the USD pairs. Okay, this is hidden price action. So here, the daily, we did create a low, a higher low, a low. So we are in this downtrend, of course. But potential to come up top, test top of that trend line, quite nice. The 1 hour and the 4 hour both bullish. The weekly, we did make a low, a higher low, and a lower high. Again, you could argue that is this a flag? Could be a flag, and we could actually see some more upside if the altcoin market does not enter a bear market. Too early to tell, but something to watch out for, and we could potentially target some of these other highs, which is actually close to, if Bitcoin didn't move, it'd be close to the flippening, meaning that Ethereum would have a bigger market cap than Bitcoin. And again, I am not in any way saying that that is anywhere in our close future. In the long term, I do think it will happen. I do think Ethereum will be the king of the market, but during this market cycle, I do not think so. If Ethereum does run up like this 60% against Bitcoin, you know what? Bitcoin's probably going to hit those. The only way that would happen is if Bitcoin's hitting some of those 6-figure targets. Okay. All right. I think that's about it, guys. Thanks. Cheers. Peace.